Hey guys, Tony Denaro here. Welcome back to the channel. I'm going to be talking today with you about the numbers that Aron discussed in the Q4 2021 earnings statement, where he mentioned that retail investors seem to own more than 90% of the float. I spent the day yesterday going through these numbers, seeing if there was any logical way using the data that we have available to us to make these numbers make sense. Stay with me and I'm going to walk you through what I found out. But first, let's take a quick listen and see the exact words that Aron said during his presentation.
If you exclude index funds who have no choice but to own and hold AMC shares, individual retail investors would seem to own more than 90% of our officially issued 516 million shares as of today. Indeed, as it is often said about AMC on Twitter, retail owns the float. Exactly as we said last July, we have no reliable information on naked shorting or so-called fake shares or so-called synthetic shares. So, even as we are well aware of your thoughts, legally, we simply are unable to make any further public commentary on these topics.
Okay, so generally when we talk about the float of AMC stock, we think of a number around 513 million. Adam said 516 million, so I'm going to use that as the basis of the numbers in the calculations that I go through with you today. The key first point in making the 90% calculation is that Adam said if you exclude index funds. So the first thing that I'm going to do is take the index funds portion of institutional ownership and subtract that from the float. According to Fintel, the institutional ownership of AMC stock is somewhere in the neighborhood of 187 million shares. And if you go down to the 13Fs down in Fintel and look at the data, or you can go to the SEC website, and it's pretty easy to pick out which funds are index funds. Now, I put all of those into a spreadsheet and came up with a number just around 82 million shares, but I wanted to double check that number for accuracy, so I also looked over on Morningstar at their top institutional index fund, mutual fund holdings. And sure enough, it is a very close number on Morningstar, just over 81 million shares. Taking Aron's float of 516 million, subtracting those index funds of 82 million leaves us a result of 434 million shares. Adam then said we own at least 90% of that, so I'm going to multiply that 434 million times 90%, yielding a total of 390 million shares owned by retail. The next logical step that everyone wants to do is add the institutional shares, the 187 million that we know about from Fintel and various other sources, back into that total to see what are the actual number of shares out there. When we add in these 187 million shares, we come up with 578 million shares. Just to make this even more interesting, I'm going to add in the shares owned by insiders at the company. Now, if we look at the data according to Fintel, it's 4.6% or 23.6 million shares. If we want to look at another source like Fidelity, it says 6.3% is owned by insiders. Let's go ahead and use that number because it's bigger. When I add that 6.3% insider ownership, the number we got from Fidelity, adds 32 million to the total. Our final result for a number of shares is 611 million. Now, how is that possible if the float is 513 or 516 million shares? I see a lot of people stop their analysis here, but I want to take you one step further and remind you about the short interest, because those shares are effectively added to the number of shares in the float. According to Ortex, and these are just estimated numbers, there is a current short interest of 106 million shares. And up here at the top, we can see that the current shares on loan is around 125 million shares. Let's see what happens when we add those into the free float. When I take Aron's float number of 516 million and then take the Ortex reported shares on loan of 125 million and add those together, I come up with a number of 641 million of total shares that are available out on the market. So when I look at that number, 641 million, it is very easy for me to understand how 611 million is possible and how it is possible for us to own at least 90% of the float. So that is the logical way, using math and the data sources that we have available and the exact statements that Aron made, to figure out a way to make these numbers make sense. And this isn't even talking about other synthetics that are in derivative products or naked shorts or FTDs. This is just the method that I used to see if there was a way to use what Adam said and the data sources we have available to make it all make sense. I'll leave this here for you to pick through and comment on, and let me know if you agree or disagree. Drop me a comment below and let me know what you think. I am Tony Denaro. I want to thank you for watching. Please don't forget to buy and hold that subscribe button, and I will see you on the next video.
So you wanna go